Yo, and welcome back to Creeps and Crimes
Podcast.
I'm Taylor.
And I'm Morgan, and this is up 119.
119.
New year, new me. Organized.
Organized. Go ahead and tell them about polls while we're here.
While we're here, guys.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Happy 2023.
Happy 2023.
Happy 2023.
This year, Creeps and Crimes, yes, I've dragged Taylor into this.
Yep.
Is living by the P.O.L.S. We are riding the P.O.L.S, and the P.O.L.S stand for P.O.L.L.S.
Yes.
No procrastination, organization, live well, live fit, success.
Success.
Sucks. Yes.
Sucks. Absolutely.
Are you living by the P.O.L.S so far? We're 3 days in.
3 days in. Actually, I've been struggling so far. You know, the S for me was struggle.
All right.
I can't get on it, y'all. I'm struggling.
I feel really good so far.
I'm glad.
I had got my notes done last night. We'll call that organized. No procrastination.
None.
Living well. I cooked dinner.
Yep.
Went to the grocery store.
She did.
I lived fit. I got the code to the gym at the apartment, but I haven't used it yet. But I'm halfway there.
Oh yeah, we're getting close.
And success is only a matter of time.
Success is on the horizon.
And I started a new thing. I don't know if you opened your Snapchat just the last hour, but every time I've gotten in my car, and it hasn't really been the new year, but it's been the past week, I have been starting it. You know how when you get a song in your head and you have to play it?
Yeah.
I've been starting my car rides with I Got a Feeling by Black Eyed Peas.
Okay. Yeah. For some reason, I was expecting Beethoven. I was like, where are we
No.
going to go with this? Are you listening to classical music
Let
now?
me tell you guys, I need all of you just for 1 week to start every single car ride with I've Got a Feeling.
Okay.
And I know it says tonight's gonna be a good night, but like just change it in your head. Like
Today's gonna be a good day.
You know, because like that, I actually saw a video that it was like songs you sing are like a form of manifestation.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So you should, because you're constantly repeating it, you're thinking about it, like you're like getting hype, you're getting emotional with it.
Yeah.
So like every day is a great day now because I'm starting my day with Black Eyed Peas.
You know what I've started?
Peas on the P.O.L.S.
You know what I've started all my car rides with?
What?
Cocaine, Jesus, and a red fall seat. I'm listening to fucking Rainbow Kitten Surprise. You're over here. Tonight's gonna be a good night. I'm singing Cocaine Jesus.
My next song after I Got a Feeling is Kelly Price by the Migos.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I get drugs for the right price. Yeah.
I'm trying to listen to a little bit of Megan Thee Stallion a lot.
Yeah. Feel yourself.
I really, really love her music. I always have.
Yeah, she's good.
Specifically, I just love her more recent trending songs because they're like such confidence boosters. The second you listen to them, and all of her songs have always been that way. But right now, they're on such a different level of like a personal level. I really have been enjoying them.
Yeah. If you could put me on a TikTok playlist every day, it's gonna be a good day.
Oh my god, the way that I'll get to the part that is trending and then I'll be like done with the song. Like I'll listen to it to the point.
Or I'm like fast forward.
Let me find that one.
Yeah. For 12
Back it up
seconds
a little bit.
and then
yeah. Guys, we ended up having a really awesome New Year.
We had so much fun.
We had so much fun. And what's the best part about all of this is that we recorded our Patreon 31, which came out on January 2nd.
Yeah,
so supposed to be the first.
You guys caught the tail end of the planning.
Yeah. So we were sitting there recording that on what, Wednesday? Yeah, it had to be Wednesday.
No,
Thursday. It was Thursday. We only record on Thursdays and Tuesdays. Organized.
Polls, yeah.
Check. So we were recording on Thursday, and when we had recorded on Tuesday, we had this conversation of like, we should do something. It'll be fun. Da-da-da-da-da. Morgan's like, I want to go out. Like, I definitely want to go out. I, run with it. And I'm like, perfect. We're going to throw a Creeps and Crimes season 3 party. And we're going to do this. And we're going to do this. And we're going to dress crazy. And we're going to go out. And we're going to have a great time. So then I start scouting people little by little to see how people are feeling about it. Thursday comes. I propose it to Morgan on mic. And Morgan says, I don't really know if I want to do anything. I'm like,
I'm not really feeling it anymore.
I'm like, you're the one who got me on this train because I was the one that was like, I'm just going to chill. Like, I'm just going to be at home. Like I have the last 2 years. No. Morgan backs out on me. And I was like, no, we're not. No, we're literally not.
We paused the recording.
We paused the recording because I was like, I'm not even putting this on a recording. We're going to have this conversation off mic.
And within 5 minutes, I was like, she sold me on having orzo.
I said, salad. We'll do orzo pasta salad. I'll just make a bunch of pastas. We'll have champagne. I'll go get some Vouv.
I said, fine, I'm in.
Yeah, fine. Vouv?
It doesn't take much.
Like orzo pasta, I'm there. Absolutely.
Anyone tries to get me anywhere, it's orzo.
I was like, photo booths, so we can have awesome content. And if you guys haven't been hyping us up, go do it, because
fuck off.
We literally got here an hour before everyone got here. I live here. I forced Morgan to get here.
I pulled up
an hour early so that we could get tons of pictures of us for the feed, for our personal feeds, and for the Instagram
and I
feed.
pulled up without my ID. I was like, oh, I can't go out. Taylor's like, send the boys.
Yeah,
I'm like, shit.
Boys, go get in the car. I looked at her and I said, what are you gonna do? I literally she was trying to be like,
I was like, guys, I left my ID.
I turned around, which I don't ever say something like that. Like, that's not something.
You're like, oh no, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I was like, great, send the boys, I guess. I said, did you leave a key behind? Call Madison and Peyton, they're on their way.
Oh my god. Yeah, I was trying to get out.
She was trying to get out.
Even the day of, I was like, I'm just not feeling it, but I have to go.
Right.
And then I had so much fun.
I was at Target, like, trying to get everything, because again, we planned this so last minute. So I didn't go to get all the things for the party until the morning of the party. Yeah. And it was a freaking madhouse in the super Target at Turkey Creek. I was literally fighting for my life. It was 900 degrees. I was sweating profusely. I was
Nothing on the shelves.
Tired. Nothing's on the shelves. There's people in there trying to stock up. Poor Target workers that day. They were literally frantic trying to get everything back on the shelves.
Sweating.
It was insane, because we had the Arctic blast, everything's gone. Then it's the holidays, everything's gone. And then it's tornado day today.
It is tornado day.
It is Tuesday that this episode comes out, and it is tornado day, and they are going to be bad. And the storm has already been pretty bad, but that wasn't even the worst of it. It's coming.
On my way here, I'm pretty sure I got struck by lightning.
No, I got struck by lightning.
And I was like,
I had to unplug all of the mics and I took the mics down and moved everything in the corner, because I was our mics are gonna get hit.
Is that a Red Bull?
Yeah, it's Red Bull. You want one?
I need a sip.
Yeah, it's kind of hot.
I can't remember if I like them.
I love Red Bull.
I like flavored Red Bull.
So I didn't drink Red Bull. I haven't drank Red Bull in probably since middle school, when it was like so cool to have an energy drink.
It's vitalizing the body and the mind as we speak.
Absolutely.
Red Bull.
And so I find, gives you wings.
Not an ad.
Which makes no sense, because their logo is bulls. So what?
Just like,
I mean, I get it looks like a little bit like wings if you're looking away from it, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. If it gives me wings, then I would like to see
wings,
something with wings on it. Like a pterodactyl would even be a little bit more fitting.
Yeah. Red Bull, because it's a Red Bull,
right?
It gives you wings. I don't know.
So I don't know where the wings comes from.
Yeah.
I think it was because I watched this girl on TikTok. She always has a Red Bull in her hand, and she's like super productive, aesthetic, cute, fun businesswoman. I was like, I'm gonna start fucking drinking Red Bull.
That shit's cute.
My new Year's resolution is to drink Red Bull every day and be a badass bitch like her. I don't even know who she is.
And P.O.L.S.
P.O.L.S. Polars. Polars. Pros. No procrastination.
Red Bull. Organization. Live well, live fit. Success.
That's
y'all have the equation. We're giving you the equation to a good life,
to success right here. This is it. Like, this is it. P.O.L.S. Okay,
utilize
you got it.
And start every morning with "I've got a feeling."
Yeah, that's it. I don't know what else you want. Either way, we had such a freaking fun.
So fun.
We had the pregame here until about, I don't even know what time 10. It was that we left.
I would say 10.
Actually, everybody drove here because we all were talking about going out, but we all are lazy as hell.
I honestly didn't think it would happen.
I didn't think it was gonna happen.
I thought for sure like we'd all drink a couple drinks and then we'd be okay to drive. No one would be drunk.
I knew we were going out was when Nikki was pounding alcohol, because Nikki doesn't drink like that unless she's going out.
Oh, my first shot, I knew I was going out.
That was 2019 Nikki's eyes looking at me, and I was like, we're going to Wagon, bitch. I will be doing a split and a coffee grinder in the middle of the flow. And we start pounding shots. We're drinking. We've got the music turned all the way up, and we're
that's
dancing.
When you know Taylor's going out if the music's up.
If the music's up, because if I'm not going out, I can't have the music up that high. I can't. I'll get overwhelmed. We said fuck the Uno.
Alexa,
everybody rated
volume 10.
And then we were like, Beyonce, play Cuff It by Alexa. That's how we knew it was going down at that point. And then everybody starts raiding my closet because we were all convinced we weren't going out.
Yeah.
So then we're like, everybody needs an outfit change.
I have at least 5 different outfits in the picture.
Yeah. And I picked my outfit out in the clearance section at Target that morning when I was having a stroke. Mayhem. So we all are going out, okay? Next thing we know, clock strikes 12. Erin's in the girls' bathroom.
Erin's missing.
What's up, ladies?
Hey, ladies.
And
I'm like, where's my New Year's Eve kiss?
And then Logan is asleep against the wall, outside of Brother Wolf. Espresso martinis, Aperol spritz, and champagne all flowing. Dude that we've been hanging out with after we met that night when he was brought to the pregame, passed out on the floor. Throwing up. Right when it struck 12. Nikki, McKenna, red underwear, red lacy thong, underneath the table, pounding grapes.
Eating grapes, yeah.
Pounding grapes. It was such a great time. We didn't get home until 3:30.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I really loved it.
Yeah.
That was a really good day. I felt like I was in college again.
Yeah, I did.
But it was better because we're adults.
I know. And like whenever we were in the kitchen, and like no hate to the guys or anything, but it was just us girls. I was like, I'm in my apartment with all my girlfriends. Because like the guys never came with us, you know?
We were like, boys, you can stay here and watch football if you want.
Yeah. Like, oh, we're good.
We're good. No, we're going out. I'm like, okay.
Meanwhile,
Logan's dead. Aaron's walking in. It's a gender neutral bathroom. No, that was the other bar we were at, not this one.
Oh my God.
You can't walk in here. Me and Morgan are both sitting on the toilet.
Taylor bit my finger off, guys. I'm like, do you want this piece of crust? Meanwhile, it was not my pizza to give out. It was Madison's who said, hold it for me while I'm in the bathroom. I ate the whole thing. I was like, sorry, I got carried away.
Did she not get it off of that random box on the table, or did they go in there and get that?
I don't know where she got it.
There was a random box on the table.
It was good as fuck. I'm not gonna lie.
Did we eat old nasty pizza that had sat out there all night?
I think we did. I didn't know that part. Now I do.
Whatever.
Anyway, so I'm like, Taylor, eat this. And you know,
at least we're vaccinated.
You know that other episode, or was that a mini episode?
Mm.
On our mini vodka episode, we were acting like we could, like the human can bite off a finger.
Right.
If the brain allowed it to. So I like chomped on my teeth on the episode. We were talking about it.
We were cackling.
Literally, I go to give her my crust. She chomps on my finger. And I thought it went through the skin. I thought the tip of my finger was immediately gone.
And I was so drunk that I was like, oh my God, we just talked about that on the episode. How funny.
I'm like, Taylor, my finger.
And then I look at it, I kiss it, I said, it's okay. And I leave.
Oh, shit.
We had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Anyways, I hope you guys had an amazing New Year's Eve celebration, whether that's sitting on your couch, hanging out with your family, sleeping at 9 p.m.
Next time, spend it with us. Downtown Knox.
Next time. What if we threw a 2024 New Year's Eve party?
Downtown Knox. Just like low key through it. Like this is Creeps and Crimes party, but like pay the cover at wagon.
Yeah. Or we'd have to pay $1 billion to rent out a bar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Not happening. Unless we still sold tickets, like a cover, to get in.
Though no bar in downtown would take that deal.
I think I might know of one that might. So we'll think about it.
We'll see you next year.
That deal. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys had a great New Year's Eve. I hope everybody was safe. It's been a lot of stuff going on in the world as we've been ringing in 2023. But I got a good feeling about this thing.
I got a feeling that this year it's gonna be a good year.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, guys. Well, I guess we better hit you with that.
If you're driving, throw that shit on cruise control.
If you got a glass, pour that shit up.
And let's get
creepy. Not
the spirit fingers.
Okay, Morgan, what do you have for us today?
Today, I'm going to be talking about a Japanese doomsday cult.
Okay.
So I need everyone to bear with me on pronunciation. I have tried my best to add in like syllable sound outs next to the words and names, but even those will stump me.
And we were also on howtopronounce.com.
And you guys know.
Some of y'all are wilded on there. How do y'all even get approved to have your pronunciation?
Yeah, we saw one that was like negative 45 likes. We're like, okay, anytime we try to go on how to pronounce, we should just start recording.
I said we should literally just fuck around and start putting all of our like mispronunciations on
Green
there
Barretts.
and see what and see what happens.
Alrighty. So in 1987, a man named Shoko Asahara created a movement in his one-bedroom apartment in Tokyo. This movement would later be the cause of one of the most violent terrorist attacks from a group within their own country.
Wow.
Chijo Matsumoto was born on March 2nd, 1955, into a very large yet poor family. He was born with infantile glaucoma, which is a glaucoma that develops due to ocular hypertension, And this made Chijo lose all of his eyesight in his left eye and go partially blind in his right.
Oh my gosh.
Because of this, Chijo was enrolled into a school for the blind. While at school, he was a bully, known for taking advantage of other students as well as beating them and extorting them for like lunch money and stuff.
What?
Yeah, he was mean. In 1977, he graduated and began to study acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine. And these two fields of study were very common careers for the blind in Japan. In 1978, he married and eventually would have 6 children following this. In 1981, Chijo was convicted and fined for practicing pharmacy without a license and selling unregulated drugs.
Oh, God.
And it was around this time that he began to become very interested in religion. Since he had such a large family, he did spend a lot of his time working in order to support them. But when he wasn't working, he was dedicating that free time to studying numerous religious practices: Chinese astrology, Taoism, Western esotericism, yoga, meditation, esoteric Buddhism, and esoteric Christianity. And in 1984, he formed a company called the Aum Shinrikyo, and it was a yoga school and publishing house.
Oh, wow.
In 1987, 3 years later, he moved into a 1-bedroom apartment in Tokyo and changed his name sometime before then from Chijo to Shoko Asahara.
Okay.
And not only did he change his name, but he also changed the name of his yoga group to the Aum Shinrikyo, which has a Sanskrit derivative meaning of supreme truth. And this yoga group became its own religious group, and it began to grow rapidly, gaining followers left and right. Aum Shinrikyo draws from Shoku's interpretations of early Indian Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, Hinduism, Christian millennialists, and the writings of Nostradamus.
Wow. That is a mix.
Wheel.
We're just going to do a little sprinkle of it of everything.
Nostradamus right
A little bit of all this.
Shiva was the main image of worship, but it quickly went from Shiva, the powerful deity of Hinduism, to worshiping Shoko.
Okay.
Shoko declared himself to be both Christ and the first, quote, enlightened one since Buddha.
Oh.
He claimed that he could transfer spiritual power to his followers and take away their sins and their bad deeds because he's taking upon himself the sins of the world.
Okay.
Okay. Are we with me?
Okay.
Along with that, he preached that a nuclear Armageddon was coming.
Oh.
And it would be the end of humanity as we know it, except for those, the few elite that would join the Aum Shinrikyo. The mission of the members was to spread the word of salvation and to spread the word of the only way to survive the end of times, aka joining them. Okay. This is the only way you'll survive our Armageddon is if you join our religion.
Our yoga religion.
Yoga cult.
Yoga group.
Yeah. Shoko's prediction for this Armageddon was that it would happen in 1997. And based off the Book of Revelation, the United States would be the beast that would attack Japan, cause World War III, and eventually cause Armageddon. The group was attracting a lot of graduates from Japan's like elite universities. And these were young people from academically pressured backgrounds, and they were only heading to the direction of just as pressured careers after graduation. And this cult, the yoga group, promised them a more meaningful life, and it quickly became the religion for the elite.
Oh, okay.
In 1989, it gained official status as a religious organization. This provided numerous privileges, including massive tax breaks and immunity from prosecution.
Not the tax breaks.
I know. We should be a religion.
Should we make a yoga studio?
A yoga studio? Under the Japanese Religious Corporation Law, after a group is recognized, authorities are not permitted to investigate their religious activities. Oh. Therefore, police could still investigate religious groups for criminal acts, but because Aum Shinrikyo became such a powerhouse for the elite, the government was very reluctant towards digging into what was really going on.
The government's probably in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we would later learn that the initiation rituals to this group involved the use of hallucinogens like LSD, extreme self-discipline, and abstention practices that were claimed to once again be yoga. And some of these practices were members being hung upside down all the way to electric shock therapy.
Oh, God.
Also around this time, the cult started attracting controversy. Accusations started floating around about the cult holding members against their will, the cult forcing members to donate money, and the threat of them murdering members that tried to leave.
It just sounds like a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Members of Aum Shinrikyo began a political journey because how else to be the powerhouse cult than to run the government?
Yeah.
Shoko announced to its members that the Aum was going to, I'm going to start referencing it as the Aum, which I'm really referencing the Aum Shinrikyo. It's just like their language. They can do that. We can't just say like the, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think it means the, but
yeah,
you guys get
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, so Shoko announced to its members that the Aum was going to run a slate of candidates in the Japanese diet election in February of 1990. Shoko and 24 other members of his inner circle ran for parliament under the banner of Shoko's own political party that they called the Shinrikyo.
Oh, okay.
So like we have Democrats, Republicans,
and then the creeps and crimers.
And then the creeps and crimers.
And then the pick-me's.
And then the pick-me cults. Yeah. And Shoko was confident that he and the other candidates would win this election. But it was a political failure. And all of them lost badly. And Shoko and the members were humiliated. This was public humiliation for them. And this election, this public failure, was the turning point for Shoko and the cult.
Oh.
From that point on, Armageddon and paranoia was taking over. And this caused for violence, confrontation to the people of Japan, the government of Japan, and the United States. In April of 1990, the Aum started their journey in chemical and biological weapons, or CBWs. In retaliation of the defeat of 25 Aum members that were running for political positions, they drove 3 trucks filled with botulinum toxin to the United States Naval Base, the Narita Airport, the Imperial Palace, and the headquarters of a rival religious group.
Oh, shit.
The motive was to bring an apocalyptic war to the civilian population that was in the vicinity of those locations. They then sprayed through the 3 trucks that had these custom-built spray devices what they thought was botulinum toxin. But this was a failed terroristic attempt, as the cult had not isolated Clostridium whatever that compound is from the soil that they collected it, meaning they were not able to isolate the toxin from the like OG.
Right.
Like they had to like derive.
So it's like trying to smoke an actual leaf of weed versus.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like drying it out. Wait, does it do the same thing if you just eat a leaf of weed?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't know. So anyway, they were unable to isolate the toxin to the point where it could actually be toxic. So this was their first failed domestic terrorist attack.
I think a better comparison would have been like cocaine from coca.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been a better one.
Yeah, that would have been a better one. 2 years later, on October 22nd, 1992, Shoko led 40 of his members to Zaire, Africa, in the midst of the Ebola outbreak. His intent was to collect samples of Ebola virus for research and then develop it to use as a weapon.
Oh, shit.
And he played it off as this religious group headed to Africa to aid medical assistance to those that were suffering, those Ebola patients, which was the opposite. And again, this attempt of creating another CBW failed, as the cult was unable to obtain Ebola samples. And we start to see here that they're trying and trying and trying to cause a literal biological warfare on their own country in the United States, and they're failing attempt after attempt. On June of 1993, the cult attempted to spread botulinum toxin again using the same spraying device in a car, but this time it was at Prince Naruhito's wedding, who I believe currently is the emperor.
Really?
Right now. The apparent motive of this attack was to disrupt the wedding, seize power, and then place the blame of the assassination on the United States. But they were unable to isolate the toxin once again from the Clostridium botulinum, and this was a failed attempt.
Holy God.
And again, they hated the United States because they believed that the U.S. is going to be the world's demise. And not just that, but they believed that our military was currently, at that point in time, already using poison gas and biological weapons on the Japanese population without their knowledge. A month after the prince's attempted assassination, they sprayed the vaccine strain of basically anthrax from the roof of their brand new Tokyo headquarters. And Shoko's motive behind this was to cause an anthrax epidemic and make government officials believe that the United States was behind it, to initiate a world war because the U.S. was using biological warfare, or so they thought.
Okay.
So like at this point, they're now trying to like make it seem like the U.S. is doing this, this, and this anthrax epidemic, like hurting the people of Japan, because they believe in their hearts that the U.S. is going to cause the end of the world, the end of time.
So they're just trying to get their whole country to get behind them by attacking their own country.
Right.
I mean, I see where they were going with this.
Yeah.
But it's just a little, I don't know.
Pretty fucked up.
It's really fucked up.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
This anthrax attempt, again, was a failed attempt, as they were unable to acquire the correct strain of anthrax.
Good God.
Over the next year and a half, there were 2 more failed attempts of spraying anthrax. The first against the legislature and the second against the Imperial Palace in the Tokyo Tower. At this point, members realized that Shoko and Aum Shinrikyo lost sight and meaning, and if anything was causing Armageddon themselves.
Yeah.
So they were leaving, or trying to, and they were not able to do so easily. These people were victims of psychological and physical abuse of Shoko and other members, and in response, they sought legal help.
Good.
In 1994, a group of 6 lawyers and counselors was formed, and they were called the Canary Association. The Canary Association was involved with helping victims leave the Aum Shinrikyo group. And Shoko, we can only imagine, is fucking pissed.
Oh, he's pissed.
And behind the scenes, what not many knew was that at the end of 1993, the cult started to secretly manufacture the nerve agent sarin and VX. Sarin is considered a weapon of mass destruction, and it is a Schedule 1 substance that was discovered and created by Nazi Germany. Damn. It is extremely toxic and a synthetic organophosphorus compound. It's colorless, it's odorless, and it acts as a nerve agent. Even the smallest amount of exposure is lethal. Death can occur within 1 to 10 minutes. Exposure to sarin causes respiratory paralysis, leading to suffocation. The production and stockpiling of sarin was outlawed in April of 1997 by the Chemical Weapons Convention. And on the other hand, what they were also synthesizing next to sarin was VX. VX is also an extremely toxic synthetic chemical compound, and it's short for venomous agent X. VX is also a nerve agent, but it is much more potent than sarin.
Oh, God.
It paralyzes all the muscles in the body, including the diaphragm, causing death by suffocation. VX is categorized by the United Nations as a weapon of mass destruction and is banned by the Chemical Weapons Convention of 1993, which is when production and stockpiling was outlawed. Yet the same year that it was outlawed, we have Shoko synthesizing it and sarin.
Oh, shit.
Shoko and his members then tested it on sheep at Banjaran Station, which is a remote property that they had in Western Australia. Due to its toxicity, they were successful because 29 sheep were killed in experiments with the lethal compounds.
Oh, my God.
And it was just in time for more numerous assassination attempts. The first 2 being an attempt to murder the leader of a rival spiritual organization by the use of sarin, but this was a failed attempt. He saw them watching him.
It was like, something's up.
Yeah, something's
They're
up.
back after their 19th attempt.
After the creation of the Canary Association, Aum members released sarin in the ventilator system and on the windshield of a man named Taro Takamoto's car while it was outside the courthouse.
Shut up.
Taro was an attorney that was working on behalf of the Aum victims. While the attempted murder was a failure, Taro suffered from nerve agent exposure and neurological damage. Yeah. They just hadn't synthesized it to a point where it was lethal to humans, only animals.
Only animals. Oh my God, that is devastating.
Yeah. In June of 1994, there was a real estate lawsuit going on against the cult, and it was predicted to not go their way. On June 27th, the cult carried out another sarin attack against civilians where they released sarin in the central Japanese city of Matsume. With the use of a refrigerator truck, the members of the cult drove through the city and released a cloud of sarin which floated near the homes of the judges that were overseeing the lawsuit. Like, it was like the neighborhood where they knew 3 of the whatever judges lived in.
Right.
This resulted in 7 fatalities, 144 confirmed serious injuries, and 126 more victims with symptoms of headaches, vision impairment, nausea, memory loss, vomiting, choking, and paralysis.
Oh my God.
The police narrowed this incident down on an innocent local resident, and they were failing to implicate the cult at the time. Like, they were totally oblivious to the entire situation.
No.
At the end of 1994, they broke into the Hiroshima factory of Mitsubishi Heavy Industries in an attempt to steal technical documents on military weapons like tanks and artillery. In the following month, sarin and VX was used to attack numerous different people. The first being a journalist who was sleeping in her apartment. Gas was released through the mail slot of her front door. I know, dude. Two attacks on two different attorneys, but both were failed attempts of murder. In February of 1995, members of the cult abducted a 69-year-old man who was the brother of a member that had escaped the cult. He was taken to a compound near Mount Fuji where he was killed in a microwave-powered incinerator. At least 15 other different attacks, abductions, and murders were carried out by the Aum Shinrikyo, and they were never connected to them until the event that took place on March 20th, 1995. Oh, God. During morning rush hour, millions of commuters were stepping into one of the world's busiest underground train systems. On board 5 different trains were bags filled with the liquid nerve agent sarin. As the packages began leaking, passengers' eyes began to sting, and in a matter of seconds, the toxin had affected the passengers on the train, leaving them choking and vomiting, blind and paralyzed.
Oh my God.
This became the worst domestic terror attack ever carried out on Japanese soil.
Oh my God.
The attack resulted in 13 deaths and 5,800 severely injured citizens.
5,000.
Yeah, dude. Shoko planned the attack because he was tipped off by an insider that the police were about to raid one of his facilities, and he needed a diversion. He needed to attack central Tokyo to get their attention away from the cult. And this backfired. Police continued their raids and conducted huge raids on his compounds across the country. Over the next week, the full scale of the cult's activities were revealed for the first time. They located their headquarters at the foot of Mount Fuji, where they found explosives, chemical weapons, and a Russian Mi-17 military helicopter. Ooh. There was a stockpile of chemicals that could be used for producing enough sarin to kill 4 million people. They found laboratories that were manufacturing drugs like LSD, methamphetamine, and like their derivative of like truth serum.
Oh, God.
They found safes holding millions of United States dollars in cash and gold.
Ooh.
And they found cells that were holding prisoners.
What?
Over the next 6 weeks, over 150 cult members were arrested, but Shoko and his inner circle were nowhere to be found.
Oh, shit.
On March 30th, 1995, the chief of the National Police Agency was shot 4 times near his house in Tokyo and was seriously wounded. While many suspected that the cult's involvement or that they were behind the shooting, nobody to this day has been charged.
What?
Yeah. On April 23rd, 1995, the head of Aum's Ministry of Science, Hideo Murai, was stabbed to death outside the cult's Tokyo headquarters amidst a crowd of 100 reporters, and this was done in front of cameras.
No.
Attacks were continuing, and they knew who was behind it all. Shoko Asahara. On the evening of May 5th, a burning paper bag was discovered in a toilet in Tokyo's Shinjuku station. Upon examination, it was revealed that it was a hydrogen cyanide device, which, had it not been extinguished in time, would have released enough gas into the ventilation system in the station to potentially kill 10,000 people.
10,000 people.
Shoko was found on May 16th hiding in the walls of a building known as the 6th Station.
What?
He was arrested, and on the same day of his arrest, the cult mailed a package bomb to the office of the governor of Tokyo, blowing the fingers off of his secretary's hand. Shoko was charged with 23 counts of murder and 16 other offenses. His trial was dubbed the trial of the century. He was found guilty of masterminding the subway attack and was sentenced to death. Other senior members of the cult were slowly revealed and arrested and also received death sentences. On October 10th of 1995, Aum Shinrikyo was stripped of its official status as a religious legal entity and was declared bankrupt in early 1996. However, the group continues to operate to this day under the constitutional guarantee of freedom of religion, funded by successful computer business and donations, and they function under strict surveillance. The group underwent a number of transformations in the aftermath of Asahara's arrest and trial. For a brief time, Asahara's 2 preteen sons officially replaced him as like the guru, and then it regrouped under the new name Aleph in February of 2000. It announced a change in its doctrine, being a religious text that related to controversial Buddhist doctrines and the Bible being removed. This group apologized to the victims of the sarin gas attack and establish a special compensation fund.
Okay.
On July 6, 2018, Asahara and 6 other Aum Shinrikyo members were executed publicly by hanging.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And that is the Japanese Doomsday cult.
Whoa. Okay. Wow.
Holy shit.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
No, a lot.
First off, only 23.
Only 23
I guess they
counts of
only
murder.
had enough evidence to tie him to those, but still, what the
How about,
hell?
I feel like we hear about a lot of cults that like you find their headquarters and like this wasn't a cult. This was a terroristic organization.
Yeah, this was a international organization.
Yeah, you have Russian military helicopters. Those aren't easy to come by. You can't run over to fucking Gabe's and grab a
Where'd you grab that
military
one
helicopter.
Right.
And then also, let's talk about the millions of United States dollars in cash.
Yeah. Well, I will say specifically when you said the gold bars, it reminded me of Paul LaRue from RX Limited.
Yeah.
Because going on at the same exact time in Zimbabwe and also internationally, a lot in the same locations of where this is operating. He is running RX Limited with tons of stockpiles of prescription and recreational drugs.
Yep.
And what did he have a whole house filled with when they busted him? Gold bars.
Gold
bars.
Sorry.
It's fine.
That's fucking crazy.
No, that's insane. I don't even have like words because that is just how insane
I know.
that
I
is.
was researching it last night and I was like trying to tell Aaron and then he was like, oh, I'm just confused. Can you back up? I'm like, okay, let me start again.
Okay, hold on.
I was like, there's this man.
There's this guy, okay?
There's this guy. He changed his name. He wanted to have a yoga studio. And then it really escalated.
No,
really escalated. I mean, he had enough to wipe out
the earth.
all of Tokyo, if not way more.
There's no even...
And I just want to know who his ties are. Russia?
Right.
Or the United States. I mean, I'm not going to say anything.
But really, though, who... I wonder... I don't even want to go
I know. I don't want to go there.
I don't even want to go there.
I have thoughts, though.
I've got a lot of thoughts. It's just... I feel like there's so many moving parts to having something that lethal in your possession.
Right. And having laboratories in the mountain.
Yeah.
At the foot of Mount Fiji. Like, that is one of the most popular mountains.
There's a water
in
bottle.
Japan.
Right.
How are we like, how is something like this, a whole entire compound filled with militia and laboratories and prisons, just go unnoticed?
Because it didn't go unnoticed.
They knew.
But
they couldn't do anything.
I bet they just had front companies too. You can't go investigate it.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything. And then also you have this many elite people involved. You're covered.
Yeah.
You're good.
But also, like, you're pulling these guys from elite universities and you're still unable to get the science right on a lot of stuff.
Right. That just doesn't make any sense to me either. Like, why was it? So I wonder, is it really as elite as it was kind of said to be?
I feel like it does. To me, it's like an Illuminati that goes exposed. Like, I feel like because they're constantly attacking the government,
right?
Like, they're constantly trying to assassinate the freaking now
and
emperor.
They're not doing it outright. They are, but in the beginning, I mean, hold on, they're not doing it like in public, massive, where they have to be there in person to make it happen. Like hands-on, first person killing another. Yeah, it's through air that we all breathe.
Yeah, that's what's scary.
That's what's terrifying.
That is so scary.
Yeah.
And like, I get that it's outlawed, but like, how does the United Nations or whoever, the weapons convention, whatever they're called,
is that not Geneva Convention?
Probably not.
I mean, I don't get the conventions.
How do they monitor something like that?
You can't.
No.
I mean, it's the same with like drugs being created. Like you can't.
And I'm pretty sure that like sarin is still legal in like small doses for experimentation and like things like that. Like, well, is it in the family of SARS? Ew.
Because that's what I started thinking when you were talking about it, because I was specifically thinking of this one Entertainment Tonight special that I watched back in 2020. On this special, they were showing the place in the US, the laboratory that has all of the samples, like tubes, for the most deadliest diseases, plagues, drugs, or compounds.
I remember seeing that on the movie, I think Contagion.
Contagion, yeah.
Where they like had that laboratory with every.
Yeah, and whenever I was watching it in my parents' living room. This is how vividly I remember this. And when the people went in there to like show this is COVID-19, this is and they were in hazmat suits and they were having to use these like pinchers and things. It was insane. And they're like, if we drop this, we all have to go into quarantine for 2 months. Like, it was crazy.
It's so scary. And that's
but why do we need to have that contained? Well, I guess to make vaccinations for it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even getting into this, but
no,
I don't want to get into this.
I don't want to, but I want to.
I know I want to, but I don't. I find it interesting that the website that had all of these failed attempts of like isolating this and that was a like government.org of the United States. So I'm like, oh, they weren't able to isolate Ebola for you? I'm just kidding.
Well,
or were they, and we have to write no?
I don't know. I'm scared to death after they're still active and we're sitting here talking after they try to kill a journalist by dropping something in her mailbox. Pray to God that we don't get targeted for this.
We won't.
And
they're under really big surveillance.
Yeah. I'm sure so is that journalist.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, God. Well, I loved it. I hated it.
I know. I thought it was really cool. It's
really interesting.
We see a lot of cults that are way more like religious based, like they're doomsday prepping because the person they worship, whether it's God or whoever a certain cult will worship, like they end their life for him.
Yeah.
While we see this cult go out and like try to initiate in Armageddon so that their country can be prepared. And I'm by no means am I backing them because that shit was fucked up. But like it was just very interesting how it turned so violent and terroristic, like,
and the way
so
that
quickly.
They did it was just crazy. When you think of a cult like this, I think of Charles Manson. I think about how it was all about doomsday prepping for the helter-skelter drama that he had dreamt up on this LSD and all this crazy shit. Then they go out and murder a bunch of people to try to start a race war. Yeah. And then in this one, they're trying to start a world war.
Literally the end of times.
Right. And they're not using, these crazy drugged out people to go murder people and writing blood on the walls. Instead, they're using chemical compounds of illegal substances and
putting it in the vents and throwing it off the high rise in downtown Tokyo.
And like, how did they even go unnoticed that they were getting the things in mass quantities to create these
compounds? Yeah, I don't know. Shit's crazy.
It's crazy.
Scary is what it is.
Really interesting. Anyways, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
On to me. Oh, wait. Before we do, I forgot to tell you guys that we are back on YouTube. Hey, friends. But I do want to let you guys know that we're going to be releasing them a little different now. So basically, they will be released about 24 to 48 hours after the episode drops on our RSS feed. So Cool deal. And I do want to apologize.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
We'll give those 3 days.
One of those days. I do want to apologize to everybody that's looking at me right now. My hair is very shiny because it's greasy and dirty. Sleek. And it's because I refuse to wash it before my new shampoo gets here. Because I ran out of my fave, which most of you guys already know because we have sang the praises of Prose, the world's most personalized hair care. Switching to a custom routine from Prose was literally one of the best decisions I made in 2022. Okay, 100%. And the results that I continually see in my hair just remind me why it was the best decision I ever made.
Since I switched to Prose, I have amazing improvements, like noticeable improvements. My hair has just so much more life to it, volume. It's shinier in a good way, not greasy. It's smoother. It's just all around way more healthier.
And lasts longer.
It lasts longer, especially when I use my pre-shampoo mask.
To
die for.
I love the pre-shampoo mask. I think that it's probably one of my favorite things. Mine has the exfoliant in it. I don't know if yours does.
Mine too.
I will sit upside down in the shower, scrub my scalp.
Scrub it out.
I love it. And it makes my hair so much more bouncy when I do it. Oh, I love it so much. Prose knows that there's more to you than just your hair type. And they have given over 1 million consultations with their in-depth hair quiz, which is how you have to get started. So basically, they give you this list of questions. And it's stuff that you would never expect.
Yeah.
What's your zip code? Oh, you want to know why? Not because also because they're going to ship it to you, but because they're checking checking what water source you're using and how that water is affecting your hair.
So cool, guys.
Your diet, your exercise routine, how often you're washing your hair.
And I just never put that much thought into like that affects my hair.
No, right. And whenever we did this test, I was like, I totally understand now why my hair is completely different when I'm at home versus when I'm in Knoxville.
Yeah.
And they do this asking you over 85 personal factors so that they can handpick clean ingredients to get you closer to your hair goals with every single wash.
My favorite feature is Prose's review and refine tool, which lets me tweak my formulas for any reason in case I change my address like I just did, or my hair color, or even my diet. Going into the new year, the diet's changing. Guess what? It got tweaked. The review and refine tool got tweaked. Whenever I moved, I had to change because I use a totally different water source. It's a different water company.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
They are a carbon neutral certified B Corp, and Prose is an industry leader in clean and responsible beauty. All of their ingredients are sustainably sourced, ethically gathered, and cruelty free. They're also the first custom beauty brand to go carbon neutral.
If you're not 100% positive Prose is the best hair care you've had, they will take the products back and no questions asked.
Love that. Prose is the healthy hair regimen with your name all over it, literally. Take your free in-depth hair consultation and get 15% off of your first order today by going to prose.com/creepsandcrimes.
That's prose.com/creepsandcrimes for your free in-depth hair consultation and 15% off.
Thank you, Prose. Okay, so today I am covering a huge case.
Oh,
yeah.
Spill.
And it is the pizza collar bomb case, or FBI collar bomb major case number 203.
Ooh.
From Erie, PA.
Oh, yeah. I know all about that. Peach Street. Ooh.
So if you haven't seen, or if you have seen Evil Genius on Netflix, this is what it is about. And I'm not even going to lie. I know this case mainly because I remember watching everything unfold. I didn't know all of the details about it. I knew basically what had gone down, but I didn't know all the details. So when Evil Genius came out, whenever that was that like last year or even 2 years ago?
3 maybe.
It was a while ago. And they still haven't marketed as a limited series. It's not limited. It's unlimited, actually. Unlimited series. So anyways, when it first came out and everybody was obsessed watching it, I obviously had to turn it on, and I couldn't get into it. I just didn't understand why they structured it the way that they did. It wasn't until I started researching the case on my own to cover it for this that I was like, you know what, let me just go watch a little bit of it. This was when I was recovering on Sunday after New Year's, and I'd already had like maybe 12 pages of my script done. I turned it on, and Nikki had spent the night, and so we were watching it together. I gave her like a blurb of everything, and I was like, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to finish watching this. The way that we were sucked in to this show, and I don't know if it was because of the stuff that I knew that was going to happen because of the research that I did, that I was so invested in it, but I learned so much. So either way, this is the pizza collar bomb case, or the collar bomb major case number 203.
This is a crazy story.
This is crazy. August 28th, 2003, a man walks into a PNC Erie, Pennsylvania bank at 2:30 p.m. He enjoys a lollipop as he waits in the line for his turn, and when he reaches the teller's desk, he simply passes her a piece of paper. Though he was calm, cool, and collected the entire time while politely waiting and holding on to this large black metal cane, there was something about him. Number one, he had a white t-shirt on that said "Guess," that was written in Sharpie on it, which is eerie now that we know what was underneath. Around his neck was a bomb, and the piece of paper that he slipped to the teller said, here's like a quote from it: "Gather your employees with access codes to the vault and work fast to fill the bag with $250,000. You have only 15 minutes." End quote. Along with other instructions. Moments later, he walks out of the bank with $8,702 in cash, as that was all that they had in the drawers at the time. He then goes next door in his car to the McDonald's. He circled back around, and luckily, before he could leave the Eyeglass World parking lot, which is on the other side of the bank, a witness had called police and they arrived and pulled him over. He was placed in handcuffs and left to sit on the ground outside on the parking lot as officers cleared the area in case that the bomb detonated. The man identified himself as 46-year-old Brian Wells, a pizza delivery driver in the area. While waiting for the bomb squad to arrive and remove the bomb off of Brian's chest, he was just extremely calm. And it was the same sort of calm, cool, collected vibe that he had in the bank. He was polite. He was not agitated. He was speaking calmly, very clearly. He was asking questions such as, could you call my boss? Can we take these cuffs off? I'm going to sit here anyways.
Get this the fuck off me.
Right. And are they on their way? How much longer? Are they going to be able to get the bomb off? And yes, the longer he was sitting there, the more nervous he got, but he was still never agitated, angry, or violent. So much so that police were questioning two things. Number one, was this a real bomb on him? It looked to be, and he said it was, but normally people with a bomb that is cuffed to their neck would be frantic, you know, like you said, like, can we get this off me right now? Unless, number two, if he was a willing participant in this robbery and knew that the bomb would not be going off instead of actually being a hostage, which is what he claimed. Officers from the state police that responded to the call discussed these options while waiting for bomb squad to arrive. And it was going to take them a little while because not only were they 10 miles away, but they had to shut down this entire road to get here. So traffic was completely backed up. And like I said, it's 2, 3, so we have school traffic going on.
It's like basically rush hour.
Right.
School rush hour.
School rush hour. And they're all watching Brian. He's isolated, he's cuffed, sitting between his car and the police car while surrounded by state police officers. And all of their guns were drawn. And this is odd because he only had this bomb on him and he's cuffed. But as the minutes passed, Brian became increasingly more nervous. And then he eventually becomes a little frantic and agitated. He insists that time was beginning to run out, claiming that 3 African American men had placed a collar bomb around his neck during a regular pizza delivery and forced him to rob the bank as he pleaded for help. Yet, when officers asked to give a description of the men that did this to him, he could not give one. So officers pretty much came to the conclusion that he was probably lying about these men. Out of nowhere, the bomb cuff around his neck begins beeping. It started off slow and spread out, and then it got faster and louder. Frantically, Brian begged when suddenly the bomb detonated at 3:18 p.m. Just 3 minutes later, at 3:21 p.m., officers from the bomb squad arrived, but it was too late. Brian had died on impact, and it was all caught on camera as news crews had swarmed the area had shots from all different angles, some on live television. Brian Douglas Wells was born in Warren, Pennsylvania on November 15th, 1956. He was the son of Rose and Harold Wells. In 1973, he dropped out of high school during his sophomore year at the age of 16 years old and began working as a mechanic. At the time of his death, he had been working at Mamma Mia's Pizzeria in Erie for 10 years. According to his boss, friends, co-workers, and family members, he was a great employee, friend, neighbor. He was super kind and always willing to help anyone, which made him very well known and loved by his entire community. Not long after the explosion, investigators searched Brian's car. Inside, they found a 9-page handwritten detailed instruction manual sort of thing. These papers were written to various people, the police, the bank teller, and quote, the bomb hostage, which we now know is Brian. His instructions were to rob the bank, after which he would be sent on an elaborate scavenger hunt for keys and codes that would disable the explosive that was strapped around his neck. These letters were not typical for hostage, robbery, or bomb threat cases. For the most part, in these types of cases, they're short and sweet to the point. Give me the money or this is going to happen. You know what I mean? But not in this case. These letters were extremely long.
It was like
detailed.
Saw, the movie Saw.
Elaborate, wordy, and they were like overworded. It's like if I wrote what I say,
right?
Just over the top, too detailed almost. After analyzing these instructions, investigators determined that it would have been virtually impossible for Brian to disable this bomb in time. Basically, even if he did the scavenger hunt, even if he didn't get stopped, he likely would not have been able to stop this from exploding. It had 4 locks and a combination dial that could not have been safely removed. And they also discovered that there was this phone inside of it, and it could have maybe triggered the bomb to go off. Lastly, Brian had been given a cane, right? But it wasn't just a regular cane. It was a shotgun cane. And it was made of wood and metal. And this was like a handmade original, like a walking cane. However, there were no other weapons or explosives on him other than the bomb around his neck at the time of his death and this cane that was found in his car, which he also walked into the bank with. Obviously, investigators had to figure out who did this to Wells / who made this bomb. So they followed the scavenger hunt that was given to Wells. First, they went to some nearby woods, and there they found a second note that led them to a road sign that was a few more miles away, where there was supposed to be a jar with a note inside. At this location, they found a coffee jar or can, and inside was a note leading them to a second location just off of Highway 79 South near the McKean Township exit. There is a wooded area, and on a broken tree limb, there was this like orange piece of tape. It's like a sign tape, like a trail marker you would see like when you do property lines. Yeah. It was kind of like that, and it was tied onto this like literal tree. And this orange tape sign said Vietnam on it, and then it had some like various numbers and letters below. Obviously, investigators had no idea what this meant other than it was some sort of code that aligned with the next location and the lock on the bomb. They continued to search this area. Like I said, it was wooded, but it kind of served as a thin barrier between the highway and a large field that was on the other side of it. So while searching this location, something caught the lead detective's eye. All the way across this field, on the other side away from where they were standing, was this blue minivan, and it was coming directly towards them. But maybe not coming for them, more like coming for that area, the location that this little stop in the scavenger hunt happened to be. Because when the drivers saw the officers, they stopped, hesitated, turned around, and sped out. Now, where the officers were with the tape versus where the van was is probably like 3 to 5 football fields away. It was a long distance. And because the officers' cars were on the highway and this van had come from the road that can only be accessed off of the next exit, which was like a mile down the road, the van gets away. Investigators had a feeling that somehow this van was connected. They just could not figure out who, how, or why. There was just nothing more at this location. There were no additional notes, nothing. Lead investigators were left to assume that the masterminds behind this had probably learned of Brian's death or either stopped leaving the notes at this point or was collecting them because maybe they knew he died or knew that he would never even make it this far.
Yeah. Or it was a pickup point of some sort.
Right. This scavenger hunt was extremely weird. Not in the way that it was like how it was written or how it was set up, like a mind game, but because of the path that it was going to take Brian on. So investigators looked at this as kind of like a red herring for not only Brian, but also for investigators. Like whoever designed this wanted the investigators to waste their time going on this scavenger hunt. To prove this, they decided that they were going to go on the scavenger hunt at the same time of the day, on the same day of the week, with the same weather conditions to see if it can line up and if he would have been able to make it within 20 minutes. And they basically figured out that it would have been impossible. So yes, doing this proved their theory, but it also left them with many more questions. Just for a visual, let's talk about the state of Pennsylvania. Obviously, Morgan, you know this because you're literally from there, but still.
It's me.
So Pennsylvania, in the best way that I can describe it, is like a chubby horizontal rectangle with a chimney on the upper left.
Chubby? My girl's slim thick with a chimney.
She's a slim chick.
Slim chick.
She's a slim chick. Chubby horizontal rectangle with a chimney that's on the upper left-hand corner. And the right side of the state that touches New York, New Jersey, and a little section of Delaware is pretty squiggly. Like it literally looks like a torn piece of paper. Whereas the top, bottom, and left side of the state are pretty much perfect lines and angles. The top of the state touches only New York. Most of the bottom of the state really only touches Maryland, and then the left 90-degree angle, that is literally a perfect angle, is completely hugged by West Virginia. But the left side of the state is mainly touching Ohio, in addition to the bottom part that touches West Virginia. Well, like I said, in the top left-hand corner of Pennsylvania is this little chimney. It is what gives Pennsylvania its access to the Great Lakes. And that entire chimney is Erie County. But surrounding the sides of Erie County's chimney, is what we're going to call it, are two states. On the left is Ohio, and on the right is New York. Going directly through Erie with both access to Ohio and New York is I-90 running east to west. And I-90 goes from Boston, Massachusetts, all the way to Seattle, Washington, making it the longest interstate highway in the United States.
Fun facts.
Fun facts. And the location of this PNC bank that Brian had robbed due to the instructions was on Peachtree.
Peach Street. It's literally like our Kingston Pike.
Right. And it runs like Highway 11 does alongside I-75.
Yes.
Same with them, with I-90. And it will take you directly into either New York State or Ohio in 20 minutes, give or take, okay? So naturally, if you're going to rob a bank anywhere in Erie, specifically on this Kingston Pike-like road, what are you going to do? You're literally going to jump in your car, go to a second location, get in another car, and then drive out of the state.
Right.
But that is not what the instructions wanted Brian to do. Instead, as soon as he robbed the bank, he was told to go next door to the McDonald's, and underneath a rock by the drive-thru was one of his clues. And then he had to drive from this McDonald's back to the bank that he just robbed, and pretty much he made a giant circle around like a 7-mile radius and was coming right back to the bank. Not only was the bomb going to detonate before Brian could complete the route, he was absolutely going to get caught by police.
Right. And they were not going to get their money.
Right. They were not going to get that money.
It's not about the
money.
money.
So it really made no sense.
Yeah.
It was at this point, which is considered like the preliminary investigation, that the Pennsylvania State Police handed everything over to the FBI. The FBI was now heading the case since it was centered around a robbery of a bank, which is federal property. And they were being assisted by the state police because it was on their turf, and the ATF because explosives were involved. FBI agents obtained a search warrant that night to do a thorough investigation of Brian Wells's home in Mill Creek Township. They entered the home using a breech explosive because they had no idea what could possibly be inside. Maybe explosives, maybe other people. They had no idea. It could have been a trap too. And I know that seems like a little extensive, but I find it important to note just how threatening all of these letters were that were left behind. I'm not joking when I say every other word is like, there's a booby trap. And it literally says booby trap. So
I've been like, and I'm inching my way.
Right. Either way, they safely got into the home, and it's kind of like a guest house that's behind his landlord's main home. There wasn't much inside for investigators to use as evidence. There were no explosives, no materials that could possibly be used to build that bomb or the cane shotgun, and no other notes. Just an address book that inside contained the names and phone numbers of various people, but a lot of which were local sex workers or prostitutes that he frequented. Now, this is significant because of what investigators learned about Brian while interviewing his boss, coworkers, friends, and landlord and family members. Brian Wells, as I said earlier, was a very simple and kind man. He lived alone with 3 cats that he loved dearly, and he very rarely left unless he was going to work, or he would take his mother and his aunt to like free concerts or movies, and he would take his mom out to eat like once a week, and sometimes he would take his cats outside to play in the yard for small amounts of time. But other than that, one of his hobbies or main passions was scavenger hunts. It was this key scavenger hunt that the local paper would put on. So they would do it over a course of a month, and they would hide this key at like a landmark, and whoever found it using the clues that they put in for like multiple days or something would get some sort of a reward. And his landlord, according to the Evil Genius documentary that I watched on Netflix, said that he loved these, and he got so close to winning one time, but this guy got there right before him, and he was like devastated.
I would have been.
I was so sad. Now, what makes this significant is because of how the robbery and this entire hostage situation was put together. It was a giant, elaborate scavenger hunt that would save his life. Meaning that not only was this someone that knew Brian, would know his love for scavenger hunts, and the fact that he would have been working that day in order to get this organized, it just means that he was targeted.
Yeah.
So they had to trace Brian's steps because he claimed that he was forced into the collar bomb during a routine delivery. That day, August 28th, 2003, Brian was at work when a call came in around 1:30 p.m. The owner of Mamma Mia's Pizzeria answered the phone but could not understand what the caller was saying, so he passed the phone to Brian. Brian took the order, wrote his own instructions out for how to get there, and headed to deliver it. Now, we know that this call came from a payphone that was actually at a Shell gas station just down the road from the location where Brian was attacked when he made this delivery. Using the address that he got, investigators went to the location of where this drop-off would have been. And it was a remote TV tower, like a TV transmission tower, which was also off of Peach Street. There, investigators could only locate a few pieces of evidence on this gravel dirt road or parking lot situation. Number one, they found tire tracks indicating that Brian's car was at this location and they could confirm it. Number two, they found footprints or indentions in the gravel. There were multiple that police followed, which led them to a lot of scuffs indicating that there was a struggle of some sort in this location, and these shoe prints matched Brian's. Investigators took hundreds of pieces of forensic and physical evidence from this location to try and just get something, really anything, but there was truly nothing that could help advance this investigation. A neighbor that police interviewed, because they searched this entire area, claimed that they did hear gunshots around the same time that Brian Wells would have been at this location. It just seemed to be a dead end after this, though. So investigators had to consider the possibility that Brian Wells did this to himself, but everyone who knew him, plus everything that they found at his home, pointed to the fact that it would be A, completely out of character and nothing that Brian Wells would ever do. B, he didn't have the stuff to make this.
Right.
So
and
you would
think he would have just kept a key just in case.
Right, exactly. One of the main reasons this theory was considered is because of what investigators found while examining the bomb, which is really the primary source of evidence, the primary piece of evidence, and the only viable lead that investigators had. So first I want to break down exactly what this collar bomb was and what it was designed to do. It's essentially a massive handcuff that was handmade to go around a human's neck. It's like a hinged collar. Those hinges were placed at the back of Brian's neck. Under Brian's chin, or on the front of the massive cuff, was this rectangular box. And on the bottom of the box were 4 keyholes. The box contained 2 pipe bombs, 2 kitchen timers, various wires, a sheet of metal with like a pattern scored into it, kind of to serve as shrapnel, but it didn't detonate that way because they weren't deep enough indentions, and a cell phone. All over this box that was on the front of him and the cuff itself were these stickers that were handwritten in extremely wordy warnings, most of which were addressed to the bomb squad and talking about booby traps that are throughout the bomb. At first glance, it's really distracting, just warning labels that are truly going to hurt your ability to get this off in a fast time. But this device, like I said, at first glance, looks extremely scary, advanced, and intricate. But in reality, it's just created to look that way. Instead, it was actually pretty simple. Basically, all that was needed to stop the bombs from detonating was to turn the timer on the kitchen timers back, or cut the wires that connected them. The phone that was found in the bomb was a toy phone. Half of the wires were absolutely useless and served no purpose. They were mainly just for show or the fear factor. The lock on the cuff that had the 4 keyholes actually only required 2 keys to unlock itself. And though there were threats of booby traps, there were actually none. It was just truly a distraction.
Wow.
Though it was relatively a simple design for a live bomb, it still requires a lot of skill. And this was completely handmade. Like every piece of this was designed from someone's brain. Yeah. This is not something you can just go buy. It's not like...
It just reminds me of Saw.
It does. It really does. Also, another thing is that all of the things that are used in this were bought secondhand, which makes it really hard to track them down.
Yeah.
So basically, if they could find some way to connect any of these pieces of this bomb to someone, they would be able to find the person who made it. But it was going to take a very long time since they were bought secondhand and be extremely difficult to do. Because this person clearly was extremely intelligent. Everything from the fake toy phone to the warning labels to the cuff to the note, everything that's super wordy, the intricate design, everything of this. It probably took them months to weeks to be able to put this all together, and they designed it to distract anyone who would ever try and dismantle it.
Right.
This person had some sort of experience with explosives. They were likely extremely manipulative and a narcissist. They had some sort of connection to Brian Wells in some way, and they knew how people's minds worked. Therefore, a criminal profile was created. Number one, this person was frugal and a pack rat, which is why they had all of these secondhand pieces on hand. They were likely a handyman, familiar working with wood and metal. And this is important because it's not typical for you to find someone that's good at working with both of these. Yeah. The bomb was all metal, whereas the cane, like I said, was wood and metal. They may be collecting or very interested or obsessed with weapons of war. They seem to be patient, secretive, and deceptive, but are proud and controlling, like have a very deep need for control. Therefore, they are likely making similar devices to the cane shotgun and probably showing it off to other people. The number one thing about this profile is that they have a hidden violent nature. So this is someone that you would never expect to be violent. Right. This is someone that moves in silence with everything that they do.
That's the scariest.
That is the scariest. The FBI then began examining these handwritten notes or instruction manual type thing to try and do some sort of matching or analysis on it. But pretty quickly they realized that by comparison of the font, format, and line patterns, these had been traced off of a typed piece of paper, specifically from a typewriter. But they were able to find something. While performing a forensic analysis of these papers, they found indentations of other handwritten notes that had been scribbled on top of the letters on a different piece of paper. It was like short words, letters, partial phone numbers, but nothing really significant because these leads that were generated from this discovery really were all dead ends and led nowhere. Other than the handwritten instructions, the indentations, the coffee jar that was found at the road sign, the orange tape sign that was found in that little thin area of woods on the highway, the shotgun cane, and the bomb itself, the only other valuable piece of evidence that police were able to get was Brian's address book that they found in his home, which, like I said, had many names and phone numbers of local sex workers that Brian frequented. Specifically, there was one that he had seen often and whose name had actually been written down multiple times by Brian. Angie. So digging into Angie a bit, investigators found that she had a boyfriend. He had served in the military, specifically working with explosives, making him one of the primary suspects in this investigation. And when referring back to Brian's original story before his death, that 3 African-American men had done this to him, Angie's boyfriend matched this description, and he had been working on a special operation through work that made him bring his equipment home to work on it, all of which would have been required to build the bomb. And after interviews with investigators, they learned that Angie's boyfriend would only work at night and never allow anybody into the garage or room where this equipment and project was being worked on. However, after searching his home and interviewing him and many other people, they determined that he was in no way, shape, or form involved with the death of Brian Wells or the bank robbery. The main thing that investigators were searching for was some sort of metal or instrument that could be traced back to the creation and the design of the collar bomb. And if we think back to the Atlanta bombings, the analysis and the tracing of the metal plates that were used for the directional devices in two of the 3 bombs, the Aegis machine that was able to break down all of the contents of the explosives in the 9 seconds that dude Lloyd was so excited about, and the other key pieces that were in the bomb's design, That is what helped investigators gather crucial incriminating evidence that would prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they got their person. So in cases like this in the Atlanta bombings, the explosive devices themselves tell us a lot about the person who designed them. Therefore, this collar bomb was really the primary piece of evidence into the person's mind and how their brain worked. And using it was the only way that they would be able to track down who did this. But with the design of the bomb, there was a massive issue that investigators faced. In order to keep the integrity of the collar bomb, the decision was made by the FBI and the ATF that it should remain fully intact when removed, meaning they did not want it to be touched or unhinged upon removal. And the only way to do this was having the coroner medically decapitate Brian Wells' body.
Oh my God.
Because of this, Brian's family would not be able to have an open casket funeral for him or ever have the opportunity to see Brian again. They were enraged that investigators were willing to disturb Brian's body for the sole purpose of maintaining the preservation of the weapon used to kill him. It was a horrendous ordeal and truly scarring for his family that had already been traumatized enough, considering the fact that
this was live television.
That's how they learned of Brian's death. It was all on the news. They watched as Brian, their brother, son, and friend, was arrested, being held hostage, held at gunpoint, forced to rob a bank, sitting on the ground, handcuffed on live television with a bomb around his neck, asking for help, and they watched him die. They left his body out there.
Oh my God.
12 hours.
That's so sad. It's sick.
Right. And unfortunately, the tragedy did not end there for Brian Wells' friends, family, co-workers, and inner group. 3 days after the robbery and Brian's death on August 31st, 2003, a close friend, the gambling partner, and a co-worker of Brian Wells at Mamma Mia's Pizzeria was found unresponsive in his home by family members in Lawrence Park Township. 43-year-old Robert Thomas Panetti. The autopsy showed that he did not die of natural causes, but instead of a drug overdose. But it was not clear if this was intentional or unintentional. As in, did he do this to himself? Was there a third party involved, or was this just an accident? Robert's actions in the days leading up to his death, following the death of Brian, really stood out to police and everybody that was around him, because he was close with Brian as a friend and a fellow delivery driver. He had been questioned at the pizza shop the day that Brian died, and a formal interview had been scheduled for Monday. And it was clear that he was nervous. His behavior had changed significantly after the death of Brian, according to friends, coworkers, and family members. He was on the edge constantly and even asked investigators for some sort of protection, as he believed whoever had done this to his friend was going to come for him next. And what's concerning is that Robert's interview with investigators, like I said, was originally scheduled on the weekend, not for Monday. But he actually called on Saturday and had it moved to Monday morning.
I would also be really nervous though. Like I feel like there's a giant, not a target on your head, but like in my head, I'd be like, they think it's me. Yeah. That's why, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like I get it.
But what's crazy is he moved it on Saturday. He called. He said, I need to move it to Monday morning. They are like, okay, no problem. It's Sunday night that he's found dead.
Oh yeah, that's odd.
It's not right. Something's up. Therefore, Robert was never able to be formally interviewed by investigators. Now, investigators were forced to consider four theories at this point. Number one, that Brian came up with this scheme on his own, which again seems very unlikely, because why would he use a real bomb? You know, like why would you use a real bomb if you schemed all this on your own? Number two, Brian and Robert made this scheme together for gambling money with no true belief that the bomb would have actually had enough time to detonate. But again, why would you still use a live bomb? Number three,
and why would you go back to get caught if you really needed the money?
Exactly. Number three, Brian was telling the truth and he really was being held hostage. And if this was the case, we are now forced to consider the fact, or the theory, that what if Robert, his close friend, co-worker, gambling partner, someone that knew Brian's work schedule, knew that he could make this delivery, knew he loved scavenger hunts, set him up.
Oh.
Okay, but why would he do this? Did Brian owe Robert any money? No, there was nothing that investigators could find that said he did. And would Robert even be able to do this?
Right.
According to his mother, family members, friends, and coworkers, absolutely not. Robert was said to be a very kind, gentle, loving man. This is something that he would never do. Most believe that he was not involved at all and just used drugs as a way to help him cope with the death of his best friend, and died of an accidental overdose. Just like the letters, the scavenger hunt, and so much more in this case, the death of Robert kind of felt like a red herring. Not even that, maybe just kind of this puzzle piece in this crazy, elaborate
1,000 piece puzzle.
Exactly. And it's just one little piece to it. All in all, investigators from all agencies were just stumped, and every lead had been exhausted. Well, 3 weeks after Brian's death on September 21st, 2003, a call came in to 911, and it was a man. He told the operator that in the garage of the house that is located at 8645 Peach Street, there was a frozen body. Also at the house, the man claimed, the man claimed that there was a woman at the home that needed to be questioned because she did it. At first, the man was pretty adamant about not wanting to give his name or identity. He just kept being like, go in the garage, in the freezer, there's a person's body.
My name's not necessary.
Yeah, like we'll talk about this later. Go to this location now. You need to go get this woman. And so he's being pretty adamant about not giving his name or who he is or how he knows this or his identity. But relatively quickly, he ends up giving in. And he tells the operator that it was actually his home that the frozen body could be found at. And then he finally gave his name and the name of the woman that would be at the home when police got there. His name was Bill Rothstein, and the girl that he's talking about is Marjorie Deal Armstrong. State Police Trooper Ron Morgan overheard this report coming in, and he recognized Bill's name because Bill was actually one of his in-laws, like best man in their wedding.
What?
Yeah. He was like, I know Bill. What the fuck?
What the fuck's he talking about?
So he gets on the phone with Bill and he starts talking to him. But also, everybody in the FBI and in the state police already knew Bill and the location of his home because his property had been searched because it is right beside the TV Tower road entrance where Brian delivered the pizzas and was allegedly attacked. In fact, he was even interviewed by the FBI while they were searching his property. Either way, while talking to Trooper Ron Morgan, Bill explains that the dead body belongs to a man named James Roden, who was shot and killed by Marjorie Deal Armstrong, aka the woman that was at the house and Bill wanted arrested. He went on to say that Marjorie and James had been dating for a while and had gotten into this really awful argument that escalated, ending with Marjorie shooting and killing James.
Not another Marjorie.
Really, though. Patreons, we already know. Good God. If your name's Marjorie, just go ahead and change it because apparently
it is not a good name.
We cover you way too frequently, apparently. Either way, when he says this about Marjorie, he begins kind of rambling, like going on a rant about Marjorie. He tells Trooper Morgan that he and Marjorie used to date back in the 60s or the 70s and that she was crazy, but she was extremely, extremely intelligent. She was manipulative, controlling, a manic depressive is what he keeps saying, which means bipolar is what I know that's what she has. So I'm assuming that's what he meant by it. And he made it very clear that she is dangerous. And basically, he begins pleading with Trooper Morgan that he needed to go to the house himself with units and have her arrested at his house right this second. Because according to Bill, she was actually forcing him to help her get rid of the body by putting James in a wood chipper. But he didn't want to do it. And that if they didn't go get her right then and there, his body would be what they found next.
Oh my God.
That's how dangerous she was.
That's terrifying.
Trooper Morgan ensured Bill that units were on their way to the home right now. And at the time, Bill was just kind of driving around. So Trooper Morgan told him, like, look, you need to come to the station right now so we can give you some security and you'll be safe and we'll go get Marjorie. So Bill agrees and he's like, all right, I'll be there in a second. Literally how he ends a phone call. Okay, I'm on my way. I'll be there in a minute. And so they hang up the phone and he arrives at the station quickly after and he's formally questioned. He said that he was afraid that Marjorie would kill him too if he didn't help her. So he helped her get rid of the murder weapon, clean all of the blood and evidence from her house, replaced even her blood-stained floors and stairs, and put James's lifeless body in his freezer until he could figure out what to do, even though Marjorie had already told him that she wanted his body in a wood chipper. This was something that Bill was like, I physically can't do it. I'm sorry, I'm not going to. So instead he called police. But calling police was actually his plan B. Plan A was to, trigger warning, commit suicide because of the amount of guilt that he felt for aiding in this murder. To prove this and also his innocence in James's murder, he told investigators about this suicide note and full confession about his involvement in James's death that he had left behind in a drawer. Investigators went to the home and collected both of the notes to read and analyze them, when one single sentence jumped out at them, and it said, quote, "This had nothing to do with the Wells case," end quote. And it changed everything. If this had nothing to do with the death of Brian Wells and the robbery of the PNC
It was just
Bank,
on your property line.
Exactly. And if you didn't know anything about Brian Wells when you were interviewed by the FBI the first time, why would you bring up the Wells case in your confession and suicide notes?
Right.
Makes no sense. Bill's like, no. Look. This is why I did it. I did this because I knew you guys were so desperate to close the Wells case that if you saw the location of my home and then I killed myself and there was a dead dude in my freezer, you would be like, he did it, and get tunnel vision on my death and my possible involvement. So I did this as a favor. I wrote this in to let you guys know that you didn't need to waste your time. So I was just trying to save you time because I for sure was not involved. And
it's actually really smart because that's exactly what they would have done.
Yeah, but either way, if you say it, they're gonna still do it.
I know.
You know, so like it doesn't matter. It's the location of where you're at and the timing of it that makes it all the more reasonable. But I'm going to be real with you. The state police were the people that were like, he is absolutely involved. Whereas the FBI was like, no, it's not. There's no connections between the two. But the state police was like, no, there absolutely is. This would not happen in this close of a time frame, in this close of location. This is different. And they had to like convince the FBI to even believe them, and it really didn't work. Either way, I'm sure we all know at this point that, or we're all at least assuming that this was anything but a waste of the investigators' times. And his little statement that he left made them all the more inclined to give this theory a chance. Exactly. I will be covering the rest of this case in part 2 of the Collar Bomb Major Case number 203 episode next week.
You slimy little dog.
Guys, we would have been here all day.
All day.
8-hour episode if I did not stop, because that was 17 pages and I actually read fast today.
You did do great today.
I read really fast. It was a Red Bull.
Gives you wings. Red Bull. It gave you vocal wings.
Gave me vocal wings. And reading wings.
Reading wings.
A little bit though, because I did get a little choked up on my words every now and again.
I thought you did really good. That case is fucking
crazy. And another reason.
And honestly, I love that you're covering it because I don't remember who did it.
No, right. Like, dude,
I don't remember.
When I was watching the documentary, I was like, oh shit. And I literally did the research all last week.
I forgot about Marjorie.
Yeah.
Until you said that.
Yeah. I mean, I have been in this case for a week at this point. Like, when I say in it, like it's the only one I've been reading about.
Yeah.
And it was blowing my mind watching the documentary, because I was just like, this is just insane. This is beyond insane.
I just can't believe I've been there.
Yeah, you've literally been there. You know, that's where
people. Aaron used to live there, guys.
Yeah, that's
we used
where
to go
Aaron
to Peachtree all the time for date night. Quaker Steak and Lou. We went to the movie theater and they had $2 movies. It was
that's
a really
where
nice
Brian
theater.
would take his mom.
Yeah, they had like $2 movies. It was so cheap to see a movie there.
There used to be a $1 movie theater in Cleveland, and we
never had that at home.
We loved it. It was right by my house too. Me and my mom would drive over there.
They were like new movies.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it's ridiculous actually that movie theaters cost so much nowadays.
It doesn't make any sense. No. Like, I get if it's like what is that? Is that a helicopter? Why is it flying so low?
I don't know. I'm sure we'll get on East Tennessee, Knoxville Crime, and it's like, what's this guy's name? Whoever runs the page. He's like,
yep, Joe.
KPD, you don't want to tell us that you're looking for an inmate escaped from prison. That's why this was happened last week, actually.
Yeah.
Helicopters flying so low, and you don't want to let the public know that an inmate has escaped from prison.
Y'all, if you guys are in this area and you want to just really be absolutely entertained by people being so sleuthy and snoopy and
what is his name? John.
Is it John or Joe?
It's John.
It's John.
He runs the page.
He runs this page and he knows everything.
And everyone. He's like, this is so and so. I mean, stuff that he knows. I just want to sit with him. When the case with the FBI and whatnot
happened. Oh my God,
in
the IRS
and the IRS
raid
and the DEA or whatever it was. He was like, that's so and so's house. This is here. Nothing's been released to the public, and we're like, John,
are you there? He's like, she owns this company. It was handed to her from this and Me and Morgan, you were somewhere. You were doing something. I was watching the Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie when this was all going down.
I don't remember what I was doing.
I
was at work.
No, you were at a Christmas party. It was in the evening.
I was at Aaron's Christmas party.
Morgan and I are literally, I like press pause on the movie. Bitch, are you saying this?
Are you saying fairy right now?
Oh my God, look what John's saying. John's saying this. And I swear to God, the news channels were literally getting their information from John.
Swear.
It was insane. It's the craziest.
He like roasts people too. Like he's an ass.
He is literally unhinged on there. It's really, really interesting.
So if you want entertainment, please join the Knoxville crime page of East Tennessee.
And if you want to be in the know constantly, hop on there.
Friend John.
There'll be like a report that comes out there. There was a car accident on so and so. Next thing you know, there's 15 different pictures, and they're like, everybody is good. So and so has minor injuries. Something.
If I'm ever stuck in traffic and it's like bad, like more so than like your regular Knoxville traffic, I immediately jump on there, and it's like 18-wheeler flipped over on I-40 North or East, whatever, I-40 East.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, all right. And they're like, highway shut down. I'm like, all right, Taylar, I'll be late.
They're like, get off at this
John
exit.
says the interstate's closed.
John says the interstate's closed. We love this group. We stay in this group constantly. Anyways, guys, I hope you have enjoyed your first episode of 2023. 2032. And I'm still not used to saying 2023 yet.
I've written it about 10 times today. I'm feeling pretty good.
I typed it and had to erase it 1,900 times.
Yeah, it feels weird, but
it's really hard. Remember when we were in school and we'd have to date things and we'd do it with like pen and we had to scratch it out. I'm like, damn.
So hard.
So annoying.
I did pretty good today.
What'd you say?
I did pretty good today on my dates.
You did? You type them or you write them?
I write.
That's not bad.
Oh, and type, but I usually just hit T and indent and it gives you the automatic time. But I write on like our drop-off labs when they dropped it off.
Okay, lovers. Good luck writing your dates, and we'll talk to you next Thursday, but I feel like there's an episode that comes out before that. I think you should be getting your creepy account before that. But
this could be so fun.
Like we said, we're doing something fun and different with all of your cool,
you may
awesome
not get
stories.
But you'll get it by the end of the month.
Pushed back a little bit. So we were on holiday break because you guys, you know we love taking breaks. We're so good at taking breaks.
Crickets.
Yeah, not true.
Crickets.
So this is our break. Your creepy account's gonna be late. I'm sorry.
All right, bye.
Love you, bye.